On a warm September night in 1666, London went to sleep as it always had, crowded, noisy, and permanently on edge. Before dawn, a small, ordinary fire began in a baker's shop on Pudding Lane. Within 4 days, it would erase the heart of England's capital from the map. 80% of the city would be destroyed. St. Paul's Cathedral would collapse in flames. Tens of thousands would wander the smoking ruins, searching for homes that no longer existed. This was the Great Fire of London. And it didn't just burn buildings, it exposed the fragility of early modern civilization itself. To understand how one fire became a catastrophe, we must first understand the city it consumed. In the mid-17th century, London was the largest city in Europe, nearly 500,000 people packed tightly inside ancient walls. Houses leaned over narrow streets. Timber, pitch, and thatch filled the city, cheap, flammable, and everywhere. Open fires burned constantly inside London homes, for cooking, heat, and light. Sparks were a daily fact of life. Sanitation was almost non-existent. Waste ran through open gutters, and the air was thick with smoke. The River Thames, once a source of life, had become a slow-moving sewer. London was already a dangerous place. Fire was always a threat. But people had grown used to living with it. What they didn't realize was that the city had become a perfect fuel source. Shortly after midnight on September 2, 1666, a fire broke out in the bakery of Thomas Farriner, the king's baker. Farriner claimed he had extinguished the oven before bed. If he was wrong, history would pay the price. At first, the fire seemed manageable. Small fires were common, and London relied on primitive firefighting methods. But this night was different. A powerful east wind fed the flames and carried sparks across the city. The closely packed houses acted like kindling. Within hours, the fire was growing faster than men could run. By sunrise, the fire was already out of control. London's medieval streets now became a death sentence. Some fled toward the Thames, piling their lives onto boats. Others froze, unable to believe their city was truly burning. The Lord Mayor of London, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, was dragged from his bed. He was asked to authorize the demolition of houses to stop the fire. It was the only proven way to stop a major fire. But Bloodworth hesitated. He underestimated the danger. He dismissed the fire as trivial, claiming a woman could piss it out. By the time he realized his mistake, it was too late. The fire had become a firestorm. Superheated air pulled in oxygen, strengthening the winds. Burning debris ignited new fires far ahead of the main blaze. Stone buildings cracking under extreme heat, walls splitting, flames reflecting off stone, cinematic destruction. Iron chains melted like wax. People were forced to abandon their belongings. Then they abandoned their homes. Then they abandoned entire districts. On the third day, the fire reached St. Paul's Cathedral. The cathedral was under renovation and wrapped in wooden scaffolding. Thousands believed its stone walls would protect them. They were wrong. The cathedral collapsed into a burning shell. The heart of London was gone. As the fire raged, fear turned into paranoia. England was at war, and many believed the fire was sabotage. Rumors of arson spread like the fire itself. Foreigners, especially the French and Dutch, were brutally targeted. King Charles II entered the city himself. He took direct control of the response. Buildings were torn down without hesitation. For the first time, the fire began to slow. After 4 days of destruction, the Great Fire was finally extinguished. What remained was devastation on an unimaginable scale. Over 13,000 houses were destroyed. 87 parish churches were gone. Nearly a fifth of the city, 70 to 80,000 people, were left homeless. Official records listed only a few deaths. But many of the poor, elderly, and sick were never counted. In the ashes, radical ideas were born. London was rebuilt. Stronger, cleaner, and safer. A monument now marks the place where the flames began. Civilizations don't always fall to enemies. Sometimes, all it takes is a spark.